Hey, Livermore fam. I'm here with some really good friends of our church family and community, longtime friends, and we're excited to just hear an update from them on what's going on in their world. We've been kind of a part of their journey and story and supporting. Many of you have given, prayed for, and been a part of their journey. And so during our arrival season, we're just getting some updates from them. So Janelle and Jordan, so glad to have you guys with us. First, for those that are newer to our community or don't know your story or kind of how you're connected here, can you give us a little bit of your history connected to Living Word?
Sure, I'll go first. Hi, I'm Janelle, and I started as an intern, in 2001, if you can believe it, that summer. And my internship turned into a semester because I didn't want to leave, but then I ended up getting kicked out to finish school, which any good senior pastor would do. Dave Beach was my boss at the time, who is now Drew's big boss. And I went back to school, finished undergrad at Life Pacific, now University, and then returned as a children's pastor in 2003, packed up my little Honda Civic with everything I owned and came up north. And I was a children's pastor for 6 years. And then when Dave transitioned out and Russell Schleck transitioned in, Russ asked me to stay on as his executive pastor or associate pastor. And so I did that for 4 years. And then Living Word sent me out as a church planter to LA, where I was for 4 years. And Jordan I handed that community off to Jordan, and he'll tell you a little bit about that. And then Foursquare called and asked me to go to Harvard University, where I'm currently serving as a chaplain, and also work with a non-Foursquare church here at Reality called Reality Boston. And I'm helping with a church transition here that just ended and kind of helping staff vocationally find their new normal at this time. So
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Jordan?
Yeah, my name is Jordan, and I came to faith at Living Word, must have been 10 years ago as a senior in high school. And ever since that moment, started serving at Living Word. So I served from 2010 to 2013 in all different types of ways. You might have seen me way back then leading worship or helping out with the high school youth group. I served with Tim Nigro, who's one of my heroes. And then moved to Southern California in 2013 to go to Life Pacific College, but still remain connected to Living Word throughout that whole time up until 2018, when I moved back to Oak Harbor just for a short time, became good friends with Drew and the team there at that time. And so just throughout the last 10 years, Living Word has been just a huge support for me. And I love Living Word. And now I'm in Burlington, Vermont, where you guys prayed for me 2 years ago, sent me out here. And I'm so grateful.
Yeah. I just so appreciate you guys. And I'm grateful that you, as long as I've known you, you've just been very interested in responding to what the Spirit of God is doing inside of you and going. And so as a church, it's humbling to be a part of a story for each of you where you just said, Jesus, wherever you're going to send me, we'll go. And so thank you for setting an example for all of us and what that looks like. And we're grateful to be a part of the journey. Give us a little snapshot of kind of what a week looks like for you and kind of what ministry is looking like as people who are sent across the other side of the nation. What does life look like for you right now?
Yeah, I'll go. So I just celebrated 2 years in Vermont. And so when I got here, I really didn't know what my weeks would look like. I just knew I wanted to be a part of what God was doing here. And I wanted to be and make a safe place for people to hear the voice of Jesus. And so now, after 2 years, my weeks look like I work at Starbucks. So I'm there a couple days a week, just involved with my community. I host a Zoom church, which started kind of accidentally this year, as a lot of things started in March and April of this year. And then once a month, I'm hosting an in-person gathering safely of people who are just curious about the gospel and want to know more about Jesus. So it's been exciting and just full of surprises, I would have to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Janelle?
Yeah, so 3.5 years ago, I packed up 2 suitcases and flew on a one-way ticket to Cambridge, Massachusetts. And which was, it was really crazy. But I got an apartment, had 2 roommates that I had never seen and or met, and just sent a lot of money out there to as a deposit to this very random person. And the Lord just has been so faithful from that step of faith. In our chaplaincy, our chaplaincy was it was in flux, and it was on the verge of not existing anymore. And so really my first 2 years is just being that faithful presence there and showing up and learning how to best partner and serve with what God is doing in Cambridge. And he is definitely at work here. My colleagues there's over 35 chaplains that serve at Harvard, anywhere from atheist to Zoroastrian. And God has just expanded my heart for my colleagues. And last time that I was at Living Word, I showed you guys our possible space that we were going to be meeting in this year. But unfortunately had no idea COVID was we were on the verge of just, having a new normal. And so that is off the table right now. And so most of my interactions with students and my colleagues are all doing this. We're on Zoom most of the time. And I've had just the privilege this year of being able to counsel and just sit with students that are going through, that are mourning. They're mourning, it's ambiguous loss, this feeling of going to school and their first year, and that's kind of been hijacked, and seniors that are going to be, getting their diploma without their friends and family watching and without a ceremony with an institution that's been here since the 1600s, and so what does that kind of disappointment look like, and how do I express that, and where does God fit into that? Just so many existential questions as well. There's a lot of fear of death, a lot of fear of the unknown, just even in this very politically charged time. Systemic racism has been another area where I've just been able to kind of sit and with students and lament, just a lot of things that are way bigger than I am. But I just see how Living Word was such a foundational part of my ministry here, and how the Lord, even the leadership there praying for us here. We just had Pastor Amy Akaturo out here for a couple days, and, just her kind of just being such a refreshment and encouraging person, and just always going back every summer and Living Word just kind of being home base for me, just really has sustained me. And you guys are a huge reason why I'm still here, and seeing God move and work in ways and in spaces that I just feel very unqualified for. God is just reminding me, and even with our military men and women and the culture that I learned to so much love and appreciate, like that has kept me agile in this season and has kept me trusting in the Lord in very specific ways that I don't think I would have been able to do were for Oak Harbor. So thank you, and thank you for being an extension here on the East Coast.
Yeah. It's incredible. What are some ways, as you think about continuing to navigate this year and some of the pressures that you guys are under, how can we pray as a church family? Just listening to your stories right now, there's some ways we can obviously be praying, but is there anything specific that we could be praying for you for in your community?
I'll jump in here and ask for prayer for health and for hope in my community. When I moved here, my primary goal was to survive winter. I had never experienced sub-zero winter, and after living here for 2 winters now, I can say, not only just for me, but for my community, winter really takes a toll on us, especially in this current season where we're a little bit more isolated than normal. It's just all amplified, and people already, but will be needing an extra helping, an extra serving of health and of hope. So I would ask for prayer for that. Pray for a team and a team of partners here in Burlington, for me at least, And then just that God would continue to faithfully provide for us to stay where we're at. God has been faithful for 2 years to keep me here, and I am praying that God provides enough for me to stay just another year and many after that. So yeah, if you would partner with us and me in praying for that, that'd be amazing.
Definitely do that. Janelle?
Ted Vale said this to us we were just kind of in a coaching circle, and Ted Vale serves for Foursquare as our missions director. He said, scripture says to pray for workers and not for resource. And that has been my prayer for the past year, that the Lord would send workers, and resource always follows that. I really believe that. And so this year I moved so that I loved my roommates, don't get me wrong, they were amazing, but I needed space. I needed to think through space for people to come to see and to possibly stay here. So that's just been kind of like, and even in the midst of COVID, God has been faithful with that in a safe way. I've had LPU students come that want to go to want to do their postgraduate work at Harvard, and so I really sense that the Lord is kind of moving in that direction. So that would be my biggest prayer request, would be that God would begin to move people here, and that again, with open hands, that we would be able to place them where He wants them to partner in a work that He's already been doing. And if anyone can pray and have imagination for that, I think there's no one like Whidbey Island that could do that, because that is just the mindset of our military men and women that encompass 2/3 of our congregation. And it's what I love about Living Word, is that every 3 years, we have new faces and we have new people that are ready to just merge into and to partner with, what's happening. So if you could funnel that into, a work here, because it's a little bit harder for people to have that kind of imagination here, because the institution has been around since before America. So I'm always feeling like I need covering to challenge a little bit of that imagination. So yeah.
I'll definitely be praying for you there. And again, I'm just thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for your witness and your presence, and that seems to be something that's so important in embodying the love of Jesus right now, is to just be present and to be faithful and to serve and to love. And you guys have been so good at that and so faithful to that. So thank you for continuing to model that for us. We're inspired and encouraged by that as a church.